Hey guys. Okay, so I'm doing another one of these reacting videos, reacting to one of my old videos. This is from August 2010. This is when I was eating a raw food diet still, a low-fat, high-carb raw food diet. Specifically, this is when I was eating the 30 bananas a day diet, Freely's program before Raw Till 4, so cooked foods were still a no-no. It was 100% raw, so you had to eat like tons and tons of fruit, very, very low fat. So it was similar to, like, if you're familiar with 80-10-10. In fact, I think it was like exactly that, except you were supposed to eat, women, at least 2,500 calories a day. I think men 3,000 calories a day at least. Anyway, so this is, I'm going to be reacting to Stop Complaining and Start a Raw Food Diet Today. I thought that was a pretty exciting title. So again, I have not seen this video in years. It's just privated, so I don't even, I'm sure I'm just gonna say like stop making excuses kind of stuff. Oh, I don't know. I have a feeling this one's gonna be pretty bad. Also, this is possibly the last time I ever put my hair in pigtails. It's not something I do. I think you reach a certain age and it's like, you're done. No, you cannot put your hair in pigtails. No, I'm joking. You can be 50 years old and put your hair in pigtails. You can be 80 years old and put your hair in pigtails. You do you. But for me personally, it feels a little wrong.
So I know what you're thinking. Oh, Swayze, today's the absolute worst time to be a raw foodist. There's fast food restaurants everywhere and cooked food restaurants, and there's temptations everywhere I go, and I can barely ever find.
Am I trying to seduce someone? I'm like talking, I don't know, those make me very uncomfortable. I have this like, I mean, the quality's pretty bad, but I can tell. I have some like gloss or something on my lips. Of course, nothing on my eyes, so it looks super ridiculous.
At a health food store, and all my friends think that I'm just crazy for being vegan, and they don't even understand raw foods, and I can't go out to eat anymore, and I just feel so isolated, and it's just so difficult, and blah, 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 wah, 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 quit being a baby.
Wow. Yes, please quit whining about these totally reasonable concerns that you have about eating a raw food diet, that it's difficult, that it's hard to go out with friends like that. Those are pretty reasonable. No, I'm just gonna be a bitch about it and tell you to quit whining. Holy crap. I picked a good one.
No, but really, two problems I have with this. Number one, stop focusing on the negative. If you're focused on the fact that, yeah, there are fast food restaurants everywhere. Yeah, most restaurants, all restaurants pretty much, cater to cooked food eaters, then that's what you're gonna see. That's what you're gonna notice. And that's gonna suck for you. But if you focus on the fact that, you know what, we live in a time where you can find fresh fruits and vegetables pretty much at any grocery store, that's pretty awesome.
I mean, yeah, there's something to that. You know, try to be positive. I think there are ways you can be more accommodating. I think it can come across, even no matter how nicely you're saying it, I think it can come across dismissive. If someone's like, look, you know, I'm trying to eat vegan, but it's really hard when I go out to eat with friends. And it's like, try to focus on the positive. Maybe that's just not really helpful. I think someone was complaining about that and just saying they're vegan at home, but when they go out to eat, they don't worry about it so much. You know, they'll eat vegetarian, but if there's like milk in the burger bun, they don't worry about it. You know, you kind of have to cater what you're saying to each person if you're having like an individual conversation, but I think there is something to be said for that. It's like, you know what, if you're stressing out about this, then like maybe don't worry about it when you go out to eat. Maybe just like don't, I mean, it's different if you're like eating out every single day, but if this is like even like a once a week thing, like maybe you don't worry about that. Maybe you just focus for now on at home and you know, the foods that you're making and whatnot. And if you do that, I mean, the vast majority of your meals, even if you're eating out twice a week, the vast majority of your meals are going to be vegan, right? So, but I do agree to some extent. There are certain things where it's like, yeah, just look on the positive. Don't try to, I think particularly for vegans, that can be useful, because I think people who are drawn to veganism tend to be more empathetic and able to put themselves in other people's shoes, and they can just, I think, really become burned out and worn down by not so much struggle with the diet, but I think struggle with what's happening to animals. And I know there are some people who just, they'll constantly watch like the videos and stuff that Mercy for Animals puts up, and you know, they'll subscribe to these people and these accounts and watch the footage and stuff. It's like, why are you doing that to yourself? That's insane. So I think particularly for vegans and vegans who feel that way, it can be really useful to look on the positive and try to read more material, I think, that is like, hey, this is how the world's improving. Yeah, I kind of went off on another thing there, but I mean, I understand what I'm saying here, and it's like, yeah, that's partially good. I mean, we should all try to be positive to some extent, rational optimism, but I'm also talking about like, be positive about not being able to eat a soup. Maybe you should be a little bit upset about that.
Kroger or whatever, and find an array of fruits and vegetables, no matter what time of year it is. That's pretty awesome, and they're pretty easily priced, pretty well, you know, priced. They're not too expensive.
It's interesting how different your perspective becomes, right? Because I mean, I had been doing raw for quite a few years at this point, and so for me, it was like spending like, well, when I wasn't buying tons of tomatoes, because man, I was obsessed with tomatoes, and tomatoes are really expensive. So when I wasn't eating tons of tomatoes, it was like, you know, $400 a month, and it's like, that's reasonable, like that's a pretty good price. But it's like relative to when I was eating what I wanted to eat, which was tons of tomatoes and like more nuts and seeds and like more expensive fruits like papaya and mangoes and stuff. It's like, yeah, relative to that, this is pretty inexpensive, right? And now it's like, oh my God, I cannot imagine spending that much a month for just me. I mean, if I'm eating like lots of delicious convenience foods and like going out to eat a lot and like, I don't know, getting, you know, Starbucks coffee and lattes and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, that's reasonable, but I'm enjoying myself. Like, I can't imagine spending that much money for just fruits and vegetables. Like, kill me. Man, it's all priorities. Having a family, you know, having a family, and I mean my own family now, you know, that I'm responsible for. I'm not saying I didn't have a family then or people that I loved, but having people I am responsible for, it just changes your outlook on everything. I mean, my outlook had already changed a lot, you know, even before that, but now I'm really able to see just how ridiculous it was to care so much about eating fruits and vegetables.
I have no need to go to a Whole Foods where things are more expensive, and yeah, they may be organic, but if you read, I have an organic article on my blog about why organic doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, that it's more nutritious, or even has less pesticides. So I won't get into that right now.
Yeah, so I actually hopped on the anti-organic train pretty early. And this is why someone asked me how I was able to get off of this stuff. I think on one of the last reacting videos that I did, how I was able to leave this kind of raw stuff. I think one of the reasons was because I always identified as a skeptic, as a, you know, rational person, and you can't be that and a raw foodist. I mean, you can't be that and think that a raw food diet is the best diet and eat that diet, right? And put all that effort into the diet. And I finally realized that, you know, I wanted the science to back this up. So I got into raw foods because I was a little bit desperate with anemia and all that kind of stuff. I think I talked about that in my vegan journey video a little bit. But eventually, like, I wanted more evidence for it. And so I started looking into stuff, and you can, I mean, you know, you can cherry pick your way to some extent to support at least a mostly raw diet. But my point is, you know, once I got more and more into that and opened myself up to science and really my own limitations, I either had to stick with raw and admit to myself that I was essentially following a religion, you know, that this wasn't about reason anymore for me. I just wanted to do this, and that's it. Or if I wanted to retain my rational label, I guess, then I had I had to give it up, and it started slowly. It's like, oh, well, you don't have to eat raw. You can eat some cooked food. A mostly raw diet's fine, right? It's kind of like these little gateway drugs. It's like, I see Fully Raw Christina adding salt to things and using protein powder. And it's like, man, that is, I don't want to jinx it, but holy shit, that is so me and other people I've seen as well, like years ago watching people's videos, and like that's what they start doing. You start, like, salt's a big one, eating more protein, that's a big one, seaweed's a big one as well. Like I started adding dulse. Maybe you start eating garlic and stuff because that's not allowed on like low fat raw 80-10-10 style. You start adding all these little things, and then you realize, like, oh my gosh, I was part of a cult. Oh, wow. Speaking of cult, that's another thing that I said in response to this person, why I was able to leave. I never was like, I'm a raw food. Like, I am a raw foodist. I eat raw food. I did identify as that, but it wasn't the primary thing for me. And I never I never idolized Doug Graham or any of these people. For me, they were just, their information was good. I thought it was good. It was just like a useful tool. So as I learned information, this was even before all the fasting stuff with Leah came out about Doug Graham, and everyone went, oh my God, this is really terrible. We don't like this guy anymore, right? Like Freely and Durian Rider were like, we don't like him anymore. Like even prior to that, I had learned some things. And again, just read more information from him and learned that, oh, he's a quack. And it was like, okay, like I accept that, because it wasn't hard for me not to. I wasn't part of his group. I didn't feel like I owed him anything. I didn't feel like, oh, he's a sort of father figure. This is sounding really culty, but I mean, it is. I saw the way some people acted around him when I went to the fruit festival. I saw the way he talked to some of these people, and it's fucking culty as shit.
Another reason why today is just so awesome for being a raw foodist is the internet. I mean, yeah, you're gonna be isolated from probably the people around you, but you have
yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose all of your friends, and you're just gonna spend all of your time in your bedroom on, raw food forums. But hey, you have the forums, so be positive, right?
I don't know why people complain about going raw today, because to me, it's really easy.
It's really easy, but I also didn't have children, didn't have people I was responsible for, people I needed to feed. I had like a dog and some cats. Like, it's a little bit different, right? This is what I talk about with Christina. At this point, I think it's willful ignorance on her part. When you have, like, on her $20 a day raw food diet on a reasonable budget, $20 a day, video, when you have tons of people on the video in the comments saying, Christina, this is not a reasonable budget. This is actually extremely expensive for like most people. And she just like ignores it. And then, the video she does on like criticism, it's like bullshit criticism, right? It's like haters. It's like someone calls her fat. It's like, well, but that's not like legit criticism. Yeah, fuck that guy, Or the recent one where the woman said, like, basically she was making women look bad by having a video where she's crying. It's like, yeah, fuck that lady. That lady's a mean person. This is what you're going to talk about. I'm not trying to make this a thing about Christina, but I mean, it is kind of relevant here, right? She's promoting essentially what I used to promote and doing a lot of the same things. And it's coming from this place of not understanding people and having this privilege. That's fine, as long as you understand that it is, and as long as you understand that maybe just because something is easy for you, that it could not be easy for other people. In fact, the vast majority of other people may have a serious problem accomplishing this, trying to do whatever you're telling them is so easy, right?
Stop complaining. I mean, honestly, you have no reason to complain. Now, if you live in a colder climate, I know it can be, I recognize it can be more difficult to find fruits and vegetables, but even still, I recently read they're growing banana trees in Iceland in like greenhouses. So, I mean, really, no one has an excuse. If you want to be raw, you can be raw. You might have to...
what? What was the point of that little anecdote? That's not helpful at all. Wherever you are, at least in the US, right? Like, you're probably gonna have access to bananas even when it's cold. Like, that's not the issue. The issue is that, like, it's cold and you want something warm, and maybe you don't want another freezing cold banana smoothie or something even like warm temperature. Maybe you just want something nice and warm to warm you up, and just putting a scarf on doesn't cut it. It's not hard to figure this stuff out.
Well, I'm gonna go exercise now, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Yep, that says it all right there. I ate food, I filmed a video about food, and now I'm gonna go exercise. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, comments and questions below. This is probably the last one that I'll do, I think. I have so many more videos, it's ridiculous. Number 1 raw food tip for eating raw nuts and seeds. It's gonna be like, don't eat too many of them, because how to easily reduce your fat intake. Oh boy, well, I need to watch this video because my fat intake is kind of ridiculous. You have to eat bananas on a high carb, low fat, raw vegan diet. Number 1 rule for raw food weight loss. 2 reasons to give up coffee completely. Oh no, bet that's a good one. How to stop drinking coffee and free yourself from caffeine addiction. I have a video with that title. That's embarrassing. My natural vegan cruelty-free skin and hair care routine. Oh, okay. Let me guess, coconut oil? What a low-fat raw vegan eats in a day. That might be a good one, because I could go through and actually like put it in Chronometer and see how bad it is. Maybe it wasn't bad. Maybe that one was okay. I don't know. I don't remember. I see some celery in the thumbnail, but yeah, I don't know. That might be fun. So there's definitely some other stuff. So I don't know. I think it's probably done. Maybe the what I ate today one, that might be interesting. And I have a bunch of other what I ate today videos too. I think when I was eating raw, maybe I started that after I was incorporating cooked food. I'm not sure, but yeah, that might be interesting, but let me know. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Of course, if you want to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. And thank you, Sniff, for being so calm this whole time. That was amazing. And yeah, thank you so much to patrons, of course, and I will have a new video very soon. Man, I'm not digging the pigtails. I think they don't work. I think it's like putting lipstick on a pig, right? It's like my face is a little too masculine, I think, for pigtails, right? I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it just doesn't look right. Is this gonna be like the hair thing again, where I'm like, my hair looks dumb, and everyone's like, I don't know, I thought your hair looked totally better than it does now. Everyone's gonna be like, I don't know, I really love the pigtails. You should do pigtails all the time.